My name is Ashley Taki, Senior Director of Content and Experience at Momentum, and it is my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Bob Skiba, Executive Vice President at InComm and Co-Chair of the Network Branded Prepaid Card Association's 2016 Power of Prepaid. Welcome, Bob.
Hello, Ashley.
So, Bob, prepaid is often associated as an alternative for low and moderate income consumers. What other demographics are currently propelling the industry?
Well, I think there's some interesting new developments because that was the initial target audience and demographic for prepaid cards. But I think now we're seeing an expansion into affluent customers, other demographic and age groups as well, too. For instance, student cards. And when I say student cards, I mean parent student cards where mom and dad have purchased a prepaid card for somebody not necessarily in college. It could be for a child in high school or junior high school. And they want a product that the student can use at any place that one of the network branded cards are able to be accepted and redeemed at. I think another growth engine for prepaid cards is related to online shopping. There's been an explosion of prepaid cards used to purchase goods and services online, and there's what has been called the omni-channel. The use of prepaid cards rather than a credit or conventional debit card, sometimes a consumer uses a non-reloadable gift card, and sometimes it's a general purpose prepaid card that is being used to shop online. But oftentimes it is a more secure card, the prepaid card, that is used rather than a regular conventional credit or debit card, because you can limit the amount of loss in the case of the potential card being compromised. So I think those are two examples of new prepaid card products which are driving very large sales increases, where the demographic isn't a low or moderate income consumer, but in fact it is an affluent shopper that likes the function and features of a prepaid card for online shopping or the ease of use for convenience of such as a student or travel prepaid card.
And in the last few years, we've seen a rise in alternative payment types. What role do products like Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, and PayPal play in this industry?
Well, I think they've got a bright future. Many of those brands, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, are partnering with networks and issuing banks to have a prepaid product that can be able to be used at the point of sale. And for retailers, obviously this is more of a digital play in many cases where you have a digital interface with the point of sale. Sometimes using a prepaid card or a smartphone in near-field communication technology is a preferred method to pay for products, goods, and services. I think the alternative payment firms have a huge opportunity of using open-loop network-branded prepaid plastic and digital cards and co-branding the products with banks and also their own branded prepaid product. So with the alternative payment types emerging and expanding at an exponential rate, it is great news for the prepaid industry and consumers.
What effect will the rollout of EMV have on incidents of fraud in the industry, and is the EMV rollout complete?
No, the first EMV implementation date for shift of liability was October 1st, 2015. And there was the shift of liability, as the networks described it, to the issuing banks and retailers. EMV is being rolled out aggressively, but I would say it's a work in progress at this point. Some of the recent data that has been quoted is that there's about 37% of the U.S. face-to-face card-accepting merchants that are now able to accept an EMV chip-enabled card. And this is as of approximately January 2016. Depending upon who you talk to, we should be well over 50 to 60% of merchant acceptance range, maybe even in the 70% range by the end of the year, and that's an aggressive rollout. Although EMV chip cards are more secure than conventional mag-stripe credit and debit cards, an unintended consequences of the implementation of EMV is an increase in card-not-present fraud transactions as criminals target these less secure payment transactions. And these would be card-not-present online or telephonic purchases. Wherever EMV has been previously rolled out, whether it was in Europe, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, etc., card-not-present transactions, or CNP, these are the online transactions again, either through the internet or through telephonic purchasing of goods and services, the CNP fraud goes up. Consequently, the networks issuing banks, processors, and law enforcement are working on ways to try to mitigate some of the card-not-present fraud losses. Some of the things that are being used are behavioral analytics, where you use big data to sort through transactions to identify if you've got a card-not-present fraud environment. Tokenization, which has been around for a while, but it provides another layer on top of the EMV and seems to work very well for mitigating and reducing card-not-present fraud. 3D secure technology, which is really promoted by the networks and other prepaid processors. And lastly, we've had an influx of some new products, which I call dynamic CVV, CVC. And these are security codes that are literally being sent out to you so that you can have a new CVV or CVC code, which changes for every new card-not-purchase transaction and makes for a more secure environment and transaction. So CNP fraud is a collateral issue when you roll out EMV, but I think the industry and the networks, issuing banks, the card processors, and the cybersecurity firms are trying to mitigate these losses and are coming up with very creative ways to stop card-not-present transactions fraud.
And finally, what new and exciting uses of prepaid products are you seeing in the market?
Well, we've seen a huge increase in some very interesting new products on the market. I think probably the one that's on everybody's list is virtual and digital prepaid products, whether they're using a phone interface, a smartphone interface, or an electronically coming to you in some form, such as a barcode and an email. Virtual and digital prepaid products, I think, are the forefront of the new generation of prepaid cards, and they either use near-field communication or 3D barcode. You can interface and get a digital transaction, and many of these digital products have been on the market for years, but they seem to be hitting their stride with the expansion of the smartphones in the markets. I think also we're seeing some very exciting things for transit and toll programs using prepaid products. These are transit and toll card prepaid products, which give you another way to be able to make your life easier as you're traveling in your car and going either on a toll road or transit or using mass transit. So consequently, that's very exciting as well, too. And then lottery and gaming is another one of the products that are just coming to its own, where you can buy online gaming cards or lottery cards. So I think that'll be an exciting new series of products and expansion of those products in the marketplace. Finally, I think also bill payer, where you use prepaid to pay for a bill. This could be anything from healthcare to public utility bills, where you can, at the point of sale, use a stored value or prepaid product to pay for your water, electric or gas bills, and other bill payer products that you can walk into a retailer and make a payment on. I also think that healthcare is another expanding market in particular. These are products that are out there that can make your life easier by in-lane and right at the point of sale, differentiating a product that has been allowed by a healthcare provider from one that is, or a government agency, and makes it easier versus other market basket which you have at the point of sale. I also think that B2B and B2C and incentive awards are really hitting the stride now, so that these are the rewards, and these are the rewards that you get when you have some type of program which rewards the consumer. A lot of it has to do with rebates or is trying to drive a behavior of the consumer to pick a product. Say I'm going to get the NFL Red Zone package through my local cable provider. So therefore, I'm going to get a Visa prepaid card if I sign up for my local cable or dish provider. Consequently, that's where we think we've got a potential real opportunity in the marketplace related to B2B and B2C products. And then lastly, I would say SKU or SKU level specific programs. And these are loyalty and affinity programs that in the past have been just a card that could be accepted. We could really literally adjudicate at the point of sale or limit a certain particular SKU specific item. So that would be either allowable or not allowable at the point of sale. I think that SKU specific items, again, are really coming into their own. And I think we're going to be a tremendous product, and that there are other conventional products that are out there that are expanding. Shopping center cards, for example, restricted authorization network cards. They are sometimes called RAN cards, is another product that is coming into market, which can limit what is allowable to be accepted or redeemed on the card, which is a great thing if you want to have not only for self-use, but also for the fact that you want to restrict that person that you give the card to just a specific group of retailers, like in a mall setting. So we think that's got some real merit to it, and I think that those are all exciting new prepaid products, but much different than the conventional, regular, non-reloadable gift card. So as we think about it, there's a great, bright future for new prepaid products, and we see them rolling out in the marketplace in the coming months and years.
Excellent. Well, those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and I certainly look forward to hearing from you this April at the NBPCA's Power of Prepaid in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Ashley. Greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today.